The history of the United States is a story of ambition, struggle, and innovation. From the first Native American civilizations to the superpower it is today, let's explore the entire history of the USA. Before European explorers arrived, millions of Native Americans lived across North America. Tribes like the Iroquois, Cherokee, Sioux, and Apache built complex societies, traded, and thrived for thousands of years. Then, in 1492, Christopher Columbus arrived. Though he never set foot in what is now the U.S., his voyages led to European colonization, forever changing the continent. In 1607, the British established Jamestown, Virginia, the first permanent English colony. Soon after, the Pilgrims arrived in 1620 seeking religious freedom. Over time, 13 British colonies formed along the East Coast. However, tensions grew between the colonies and Britain over taxes and laws. In 1775, the American Revolution began, and in 1776, the Declaration of Independence, written by Thomas Jefferson, announced the birth of a new nation, the United States of America. After winning the Revolutionary War in 1783, the U.S. created the Constitution in 1787, establishing a democratic government. George Washington became the first president, and the country began expanding westward. However, deep divisions grew over slavery, especially as new states joined the Union. The economy thrived, cities grew, but tensions between the North and South would soon explode into war. In 1861, the Civil War broke out between the North, Union, and the South, Confederacy, over slavery and states' rights. Abraham Lincoln led the Union, and in 1863, he issued the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing enslaved people in rebel states. After 4 years of brutal battles, the Union won in 1865. Slavery was abolished, but racial tensions continued for decades. Reconstruction attempted to rebuild the South, but progress was slow, and segregation laws soon took hold. The late 1800s saw rapid industrial growth. Railroads, factories, and new inventions transformed the U.S. cities like New York and Chicago boomed, and immigrants arrived in waves chasing the American dream. By 1917, the U.S. entered World War I, helping the Allies win. The war ended in 1918, and America emerged as a global power. The 1920s roared with jazz, economic growth, and cultural shifts. But in 1929, the stock market crashed, leading to the Great Depression. Millions lost jobs, and poverty spread. Then came World War II. After the 1941 attack on Pearl Harbor, the U.S. joined the war. By 1945, the Allies defeated Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan, making the U.S. the world's strongest superpower. After World War II, tensions between the U.S. and the Soviet Union led to the Cold War. There were no direct battles, but conflicts like the Korean War, Vietnam War, and Cuban Missile Crisis kept the world on edge. Meanwhile, the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 60s, led by Martin Luther King Jr., fought for racial equality. By the 1970s, the U.S. had landed on the moon, and by 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed, marking the end of the Cold War. Since the Cold War, the U.S. has faced new challenges. 9/11 in 2001 led to the War on Terror. The 2008 financial crisis shook the economy, and recent years have seen political and social changes, technological advances, and ongoing global conflicts. Today, the U.S. remains a powerful, diverse nation, continuing to shape the world. From a small group of colonies to a global superpower, the history of the USA is a story of resilience, innovation, and change. What do you think is the most important moment in U.S. history? Let us know in the comments.